Hi, very good morning. My name is Devi. I am from Malaysia. Today, I'm going to give a presentation on integrated management systems. Okay, before we start, I would like to introduce myself. I am a diploma participant by the Technobiz, and as a part of presentation activities, today I have to do this presentation. Okay, my background is I'm working as a general manager involving in operations. And I've started my journey as a QA and involved in many other operations process. And I would like to learn and enhance my knowledge further in rubber industry. That is why I participate in 360-degree Technobiz Diploma Management Program. I hope my presentation will give you an overview of this integration management system. Let's go into our integrated management system slides. Today's presentation on the integration of quality management systems. We all explore how combining ISO 9001, 14001, 45001, and ESG, where environmental, social, and governance standards can drive organizational excellence. Quality management isn't just about compliance. It's about enhancing efficiency, performance, and values. Our goal is to seamlessly embed quality practices into our quality operations, making them an integral part of our success. Thank you again to Technobiz for providing this platform, and let's go into detail, dive into the world of integrated management system. Okay, let's talk about ISO 9001. Okay, ISO 9001 is the international standard that specifies requirements for a quality management system. We call QMS. A QMS is a set of rules, policies, processes, and procedures that an organization follows to provide products and services that meet customer and regulatory requirements. Okay, this is a very basic fundamental that every business should have ISO 9001. ISO 9001 is based on a number of quality management principles, such as customer focus, leadership process approach, and continual improvement. ISO 9001 can be used by any organization, regardless of its type, size, or field of activity. It can help organizations to monitor and manage quality across their business and identify areas for improvement. So ISO 9001 was first published in 1987 and has been revised several times. The latest version, ISO 9001 2015, which was published in 2015, is confirmed in 2021. Okay, so that is about ISO 9001. Okay, let's look into 14001. ISO 14001 is a standard for environmental management systems called EMS. Okay, that helps organizations to improve their environmental performance and comply with legal and other requirements. Okay, and EMS is a set of policies, procedures, records that define how organization manage its environmental aspects and impacts. Some key points of EMS 14001 is actually it is based on the plan, do, check, and act cycle, which means that an organization needs to plan what it wants to achieve, implement the actions, monitor the result, and take corrective actions if needed. It does not specify specific environmental performance criteria, but rather provides a framework for setting and achieving environmental objectives. It can help an organization to reduce its environmental footprint, carbon footprint, save costs, enhance its reputation, and gain a competitive edge. 45,001 X. What is 45,001? Let's talk about occupational and health and safety management systems. Okay, this topic related to the international standard, where the 45,000 2018 version, okay, which specifies requirements and guidance for an occupational health and safety management system. The purpose of this standard is to help organization provide safe and healthy workplaces for their workers. Okay, the workers will feel happy to come and work if the workplace are conducive and safe to work. Okay, in that case, that's where the other people who may be think that safety, it's a main concern. So the people who maybe want to come and work safely and conducively, they are looking forward to having best practice in organizational occupation and health and safety system. By preventing work-related injuries and illness, as well as improving their safety performance, we can have a better and a conducive work environment. Okay, so these are the main three integrated management system. Let's look into the next, we're called ESG. Okay, what is ESG? Everybody now talking about ESG is one of the important elements or important subject that we have to look into ESG. ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance, which are to set aspects that investors and stakeholders consider when evaluating a company's performance. Okay, so ESG is important for both companies and investors because it can affect their financial performance, reputation, risk management, innovation, and long-term sustainability. There are no one-size-fits-all approach to measuring the ESG performance. We must understand that, okay, different nature of business, different business having different governance and different policy that they have to implement. As different companies, different organizations and industries may face different issues and opportunities. Okay, for example, the Malaysian Rubber Council, MRC, has established a sustainability unit and released a sustainability development plan in May 2021 to implement an operational strategy that focuses on the economic, environmental, social, and governance, the principles. So MRC also aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, okay, from its operations by 10% and become carbon neutral by 2050. Okay, that is on the environmental aspect. For social, the Malaysian Rubber Glove Manufacturers Association, MACMA, has formed a social compliance task force to manage the international labor organizations, where there are 11 indicators of forced labors in glove making sector. So MACMA also collaborates with various stakeholders to ensure the welfare and well-being of its workers. Okay, some of the factors that to be considered for ESG in rubber industries, I would say that for the environmental, how the rubber industry manage its natural resources like water. Okay, I believe every rubber industries must have water treatment plants. Okay, industrial effluent treatment systems. So energy and land. Some are using natural gas. Some will use LPG, liquidized petroleum gas. Okay, so this is one of the aspects where reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, waste and pollution. For example, the rubber industries, they can adopt water conservation. okay, how to recycle the water, energy efficiency, renewable energy. There are a lot of ways that we can use the energy, okay, that refuse energy waste management system, biodegradability, and circular economy initiatives to reduce its environmental footprint and enhance sustainability uh, issues. Okay, let's talk about the third, that social. How the rubber industry treats its employees, suppliers, customers, and communities, and respect the human rights, and also health, safety, and other well-being. For example, rubber industry can address issues such as forced labors, child forced labors, child labors, forced labors, minimum ages, okay, and equal opportunity, freedom of association, occupational safety and health, social compliance, and its operations and supply chain. Talking about child labor, there will be, I mean, many countries, you can see that the organization will employ child laborers like 13 years, 14 years. I think uh, all the industries have to seriously look into this, where we think that child labor will affect, there are so many things that will impact the child and also the organization. Okay. And debt bondage. There are many foreigners, that foreign workers that actually migrate and they go and work in the other countries. So the organization, the company have to look into their debt, where they have to pay and then they come and work in the other countries. So they are end up with a lot of debt in their country. So the organization must make sure that free debt bondage, whoever that the people that bringing to another country to work, the company or the organization is responsible to making sure that all their expenses has been covered, and there are minimum payment to be made before we employ them or bring them to another country. Okay, and then how the rubber industry conducts business with integrity, okay, transparency, accountability, and ethics. Okay, and compliance with laws and regulations. There are many laws that we have to make sure environmentally or social, we have to comply to the laws. For example, the rubber industry can establish policies and procedures to prevent corruptions. Okay, for Malaysia, we all the rubber industries has been signed off for MACC Section 17. A lot of briefing has been given and awareness given to making sure that from the top to down, all of us aware about this corruption and the integrity practice, bribery, fraud, and all. Okay, tax evasion and other malpractices also to ensure a good corporate governance practices. Okay, let's talk about SEDEX. SEDEX or SMETA. What is SMETA? SMETA, or actually SEDEX member ethical trade, is a respected auditing methodology designed to evaluate ethical and responsible business practices. It assesses suppliers and manufacturers across various industries, regardless of any industries, ensuring compliance with labor laws, health and safety regulations, and environmental practices and business ethics. SEDEX is the organization behind SMETA. It's the latest version updated in 2019. Okay, so it covers labor standards, where one of the biggest standards, this pillar covers the rights and welfare of workers, such as fair wages. Are we paying them the minimum wages? Okay, working hours. Okay, when talk about working hours, under the ILO, International Labour Organization law, organization must make sure that the workers are not forced to exceed the working hours, not more than 60 hours per week. For example, they have to work only 7.5 hours and allowed to work any overtime extra for 2.5 hours, meaning in a week, they're only allowed to work 60 hours. So that is, sorry for the interruption here. Okay, we go back again to this health and safety. Okay, when we talk about health and safety, okay, the organization must ensure the physical and mental well-being of workers, such as safe working condition, adequate facilities, training, PPE, and emergency preparedness. Okay, that is why most of the companies having ERT team. So, okay, they form a team, they're making sure that the team are well trained, they've given competent training to make sure that these people are aware when there is an emergency, how they should handle the workers. Okay. So talk about next is environment. So environment, the pillar covers the impact of business activities on the natural environment, such as energy use, greenhouse gas emissions, waste management, pollution, and biodiversity, and etc. The organization must comply with the relevant environmental laws and regulations in their countries, okay, and regions to adopt the best practices to reduce their environmental footprint. Okay. Next, the last is a business ethics. The ethical conduct of business operations such as anti-corruptions, anti-bribery, fair competition, data protection, intellectual property rights, and transparency. So, as I mentioned that in CDEX, there are 11 principles, there are key principles that the organization must make sure. There are if not mistaken, 6 principles are zero tolerance, meaning that the organization must ensure these principles are adhere and comply whenever there is an audit or there is any time in the organization. So mainly, I would say that zero debt knowledge and working hours not exceed more than 60 hours, and conflicts. Okay, there's no conflicts, and they're also talking about a few other things which I can't recall. So, okay, let's go to the next slides. Okay, context of organization. Okay, there are few things, the interested parties are those that relevant to the management system. Okay, the context of the organization in the ISO 9001 QMS means that the internal and external factors, we are talking about internal and external factors that affect the organization's objectives, strategies, and processes. It is very important to understand the context of the organization, okay, to identify the risk and opportunities. That is where they also carry out yearly like CHRA, okay, hazards risk assessment that may affect the quality of its products or services, and to plan and implement the QMS accordingly. Okay, some of the examples, the internal factors that are the culture, okay, the values and beliefs of the organization, the complexity and the structure of the organization, the skills, the competencies of the employees, the resources and the technologies, okay, that all will give an impact to the organization. Okay, the processes and the interactions within the organization. So to determine the interested parties here, okay, the stakeholders, the workers, the regulatory bodies, and customers. These are the resources and technologies that we have to make sure to context in the organization to keep the company to run or move forward. Okay, the certification, talk about certification. The scope of the certification should reflect precisely in our business. Okay, the QMS is dependent on what the organization decided to have certified. Okay, the clearly activities must be covered by the organization. For an example, you must mention about locations, the product, services, and process that included. The scope of certification should be consistent within the audit objectives. Okay, any exclusion or any non-applicability of ISO 9001 requirement should be properly documented and clearly mentioned and justified in the QMS. Okay, so for example, 14,001 and 45,000, what is the difference? I mean, what are the standards that are mentioning in the insulating or in the rubber gloves? Let's say like in my manufacturing, we are manufacturing insulating and rubber gloves. So the scope will be covers that on the manufacture of rubber and insulating gloves and rubber sleeves. So the scope must mention very clearly. Both standards are based on the same structure. If you look at 14,001 and also 45,000, the structures are quite similar. And principles of the management system standards, it's all talking about how the principle of the management standard, such as like plan, do, check, and act, cycle, risk management, and continual improvement. It's actually, if let's say talking about 45,000, it would emphasize more on the safety aspects. So 14,000 is actually more on the environmental aspects, where QMS or ISO 9001 will talk or emphasize more on the quality management system. They also share some common processes like internal audits. Okay, all these three standards still required an internal audit. Periodically, the team, whether internal team, have to carry out the audit to make sure that the system is running well, is actually established and executed according to the standards. Okay, they also having a management review. This management review, we will talk about is there any changes in the systems? Is there any new implementation that company organization going to enhance? So the management review meeting will carry out for all these three standards: competence and awareness, and control of documented information. Okay. However, they differ in their focus, scope, and objective. Like what I say earlier, 14,001 applies to the environmental aspects and the organization's activities, products, and services, while 45,000 applies to the health and safety aspects of an organization. But they have the similarity, we have to carry out the internal audits, management review, and all that in their organization activities. Okay. All these three also involve quality policy. Okay, what is quality policy? Covers excellent customer satisfaction through the customer satisfaction survey or index, customer complaint, that how many customer complaints in a year, or feedbacks, even though it's not a complaint, maybe they are giving a feedback during the visit. So it's all talking about excellent customer satisfaction. Okay, annual review must be carried out. Management meeting is an annual review. Okay, minimum once a year, there will be a management review meeting. Okay, during the meeting, we'll discuss about or monitor the performance action plans. Okay, effectiveness of action taken. Okay, how many cars has been raised during the last 1 year audit? Okay, whether these cars or non-conformance issuance has been closed successfully, effectiveness of the action taken. Okay, the review of the action taken. So the management review meeting is very important, very crucial to dive into the quality management system to ensure that the effectiveness of the action taken. Okay, quality policy is a statement of an organization's commitment, okay, to quality, how the company, the organization is actually build their quality policy, customer satisfaction, and continual improvement. It should reflect the purpose, context, and strategy, direction of the organization, as well as the expectation, the needs by the interested parties. Okay, a quality policy should be also provide a framework. Okay, they must have a framework for setting quality objectives and be communicated and understood within the organization. Okay, the awareness of the quality policy and the quality objective is very important. We must make sure that this has been engaged, has been communicated to the workers clearly, and maybe we cannot use very jargon words and all that. We should do a simple way to explain to the workers to understand what actually the company's direction or quality policies or objectives. And with that, the workers can perform better. They will understand what actually required as an individual person, how they actually commit to their company's objective. So it is very important how we actually communicate with the workers, tell them the company's objectives, so that everybody will work in the common objective. Okay, simple point from example of quality policy for the rubber industry. I would say that we are very committed to providing high quality rubber products that meet or exceed the requirement. Talk about high quality rubber products. Okay, every individual in the company, they have their own responsibility and accountability to making sure the product produced with higher quality. Okay, start from tipping process. Okay, even compounding this and supply the latex to the tipping. So the compounding boy must understand what is the specification, what are the quality requirements that must adhere and supply to the dipping. And the dipping boy or dipping technicians must ensure that the latex received according to the specification. So each one of them have their own quality standards to make sure that the final product released to customer is actually 100% comply to the quality requirements. So that is why it is very important, although the standard or our quality policy talk about a very general statement, but each and every one in the company must committed and accountable for the quality standard of the company. Okay, so we strive to achieve customer satisfaction. What do you mean by strive to achieve customer satisfaction? By delivering our product on time. So we must make sure and understand and make the people in the organization to understand the delivery lead time, the aspect impacts. If let's say the delivery not reached to the customer, what are the implications? What are the aspects that individually we have to make sure we don't fail and making sure that product reach to the customer on time. So at competitive prices and with excellent service. So these are a few quality objective or quality policy that we in the rubber industries we are practicing. Okay. Okay, next is environmental policy. It's same. It's a kind of policy that to make sure that every one of us understand about the environmental policy. Some example that I can tell again, to make sure that regular review, okay, and environmental impact according to the EMS standard. We have to carry out the regular, as I mentioned earlier, plan. Okay, the rubber industries can establish an environmental policy, defines an environmental goal, principle, and strategies. The company can also identify its significant environmental aspects and impacts, such as water. Water is the biggest crucial part in the rubber industries. So water consumption, energy use, gas. My earlier slides, I told you that gas and carbon footprint, okay, and greenhouse gas emissions, waste disposal, how actually the company making sure that legally these waste are disposed according to the scheduled waste management. Okay, the company can also develop an environmental management timelines and indicators to measure the environmental performance. Okay, rubber company, for example, can implement its environmental management program by carrying out the planned action, such as installing water-saving devices. Okay, now the technology, we can see that there are many new things, new technology has been introduced, how to conserve the water and recycle the water by installing the water-saving devices, switching to renewable energy sources. Okay, the heat that discharge from the oven can be reused as a renewable energy. Solar, okay, as a renewable energy, adopting the waste reduction and introduce the recycling practices. Okay, company can also ensure that its employees and stakeholders are aware. Okay, most important, they must aware that we must give enough training on its environmental policy, again, objectives and targets. Then we will see them work together to making sure that this objective is met. Okay, their roles and responsibilities in the EMS must clearly mention as a top management. Okay, what is our contribution? What our aim? How we want to make sure that the company actually is not affecting the environment. We are adhering to all the standards and legal requirements. The company can also establish operational controls and procedures to prevent, minimize its environmental impacts, such as the water, okay, quality, maintaining equipment efficiency, complying with legal requirements and all that. Okay, while we implement and establish, we also must make sure that the proper checks carry out to make sure we are according or in line to the requirements. Okay, environmental performance by collecting a data and analyzing the data from the resources, all the sources like energy, water, and so on. For example, can also conduct the internal audit, as what I say that is a critical, every action to make sure to verify the effectiveness of the action. Internal audit play a very important role. So we must have a competent auditors internally trained and make sure that these auditors understand the requirement of the standards and carry out and evaluate the effectiveness and the conformity of its EMS standards. Okay, the company also can review its compliance with legal and other requirements that are relevant to its environmental aspects and impacts. Okay, next, act. The rubber industry, we can also review its EMS regular intervals by assessing its overall environmental performance and compliance. Also can evaluate the suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness of its policy, objective, target, management program, operational controls, and procedures. Okay, so hope you can understand all the QMS and 14,000 and the 45,000 requirements and actions to be taken to make sure that organization are adhering to all the company's policy. Okay, let's talk about health and safety policy. Safe and healthy work environment must committed, and we must make sure the organization must committed to providing and maintaining a work environment that is safe and healthy for all workers. Workers must feel conducive to come and work with us. They are safe and secure. So the organization play very important role to make sure this has been practiced and executed. It's not only limited to workers, it also for the contractors, visitors, and others interested parties. Okay, this could include ensuring that work activities are planned and performed in a way that prevents any injury, okay, and any illness that affecting due to the hazards that identify in the company. So we have to make sure that all the hazards are identified and controlled, and that emergency preparedness is what we say that the ERT team in the company is very important. These people must be trained, and they must understand when there is any emergency. This group of people are the one that come forward to help and make sure that the safety is always there, the awareness given, and the people side there understand about the preparedness and response measures are in place. Okay, so that is why part of the CDEX or SMETA requirements, the health and safety or even workers' welfare is very important. The participation of workers' welfare, it's also part of the policy for the health and safety. The policy could state the organization values the welfare and well-being of its workers and respects their rights and views. Okay, this could include ensuring that workers have access to adequate facilities, resources, training, and support to perform their works safely and effectively. Okay, that workers are consulted and involved in decision making on occupational health and safety matters. That is why in the organization we form a team from the operators group and middle management and the top management, so that workers are encouraged to report any concerns or any incidents without fear. Okay, this also have to be reviewed annually. Organization company is committed to continually improving its occupational health and safety performance and management system. This could include ensuring that the policy is reviewed at least annually by top management. The top management must involve in this review and ensure its suitability, adequacy, and effectiveness, that the policy is communicated to all workers. That is why engagement with workers, engagement with all level is very important. That to all the relevant parties are communicated and the policies align with the organization's strategic directions and objectives. Okay. Organizations' roles and responsibilities. As I mentioned, every organization, we must have a clearly, for example, must have the roles and responsibilities like chief CEO or general manager of operations. And these are some examples you can see later. So they are accountability and responsibility to make sure that the responsibility is clearly spelled out and how they will enhance and establish the responsibility to making sure the standards are practiced and executed without any failures. Okay, next, talk about planning under the risk and opportunities. Okay, to identify and address the relevant risks and opportunities, meaning as increasing the effectiveness of the IMS system, integrated management system. You must have address a risk and at the same time the opportunities, so that we can have a continuous improvement in the performance. Okay, it can be in the process or even the product or people and so on. Okay, this will be preventing or mitigating negative effects. Okay, for example, batch tipping, okay, quality rejects due to quality defect, or what kind of technical errors, that how we want to troubleshoot, form a team, and we have to continuously address the issue. Okay, we talk about environment. Okay, talking about water hazards, pollutions, and the water treatment plant, the discharge. Okay, so we must have identified all the risks and the opportunities and make the necessary SOPs. Must make sure that the SOPs are clearly include the process and ensure there is no any surprises or during the operations. The very important is actually the training on handling the process or SOPs. Okay, the training for handling chemical spillage, for example, a fire drill. The workers must know, okay, how in the event of emergency, how they should assemble from the factory. They have to come out, and then who have to take the names and making sure that all these people are safe. So this must be done, planned, and carry out a certain interval, so that everybody aware in the event of any emergency situation. Okay, support. Support is very important. It's involved resources, competence, and monitoring the measuring and resources. It's include various resources, okay, competence and monitoring and measurements that are need to implement and maintain quality management system effectively. Example, we need to determine and provide the necessary human, okay, who have to do this job. Are they competent to do the job? Are they trained to do the job? Physical and organizational resources to carry out the process and achieve the quality objective. Competent personnel, again and again, I emphasize on the competent because the competent personnel to perform their tasks, such as provide the specific rubber trainings, okay, like Technobis now give us a platform to enhance our knowledge in rubber industries or rubber products. So we can't find a place where very unique 360-degree training talking about rubber. So this is a very good platform. So the management, the company have to look for this kind of specific training so that the people who are going to carry out the job will be well trained and they are competent to carry out their daily job. So testing, like quality control, processing and compounding. So those people who are doing compounding, they must have a basic knowledge of latex and then chemicals, behaviors, and so on. So competent training is very important. So resources must be fully trained to run and take over their job effectively and efficiently. So we need to make sure that enhance their skills and knowledge. That is the management's role. Okay. Infrastructure. Okay. It's also part of these infrastructures. Ensure adequate processing machines, for example, is available. So facilities are there. And that is the role of the management to make sure that the right infrastructure is available to carry out their job effectively. Okay. Tensile machine, for example, in the lab, we must make sure that the tensile machine is available to making sure the product that produced is meeting the basic minimum tensile properties. Okay, spectrophotometers to make sure that the IETS, the water treatment plant, whatever that we are discharging is actually according to the specification. Okay, and then hardness tests. There are many equipment that in the lab, but we as a management must make sure that the people that are going to carry out the job are well trained and trained at the right place to make sure that they understand how should handle and how to carry out their job effectively. Okay. We talk about the environment. Okay. Basically, rubber manufacturing will apply chemicals. Any chemicals, we know that we are dealing every day with chemicals, solvents, and all that. Okay. The organization must ensure there is a conducive work environment. Okay. We must have a proper chamber, proper hood that when the people carry out the job, the chemical has been properly processed and they have a good conducive work environment. Okay. For example, noise, we have to monitor the noise level. We have to carry out periodically, usually once a year minimum, noise monitoring, chemical exposure level. What is that level? The temperature that during their workplace, is that too high? So we have to make sure that is proper measurement carry out and the necessary action taken to make sure that workers having a conducive work environment. Okay. So all this, whatever that action that we are doing, it must be properly monitored and measured. Every process, regardless, these are needed to monitor, okay, and measure their performance. They need to ensure that these resources are suitable for the intended purpose and give the valid result. Okay. Measurement and traceability. Okay. Under support, measurement and traceability. This means that the result of measurement, that whatever that we measured, we monitored monthly or yearly made by the company are linked to the national or international standards. Okay. For example, in rubber industry, we use a calibrated device to measure the thickness or hardness and the tensile strength. We must make sure that the machine are calibrated on timely. Okay. And the device should have a label or certificate that shows that this has been calibrated and the validity of the machine. And it was last calibrated by who, when, and all that. Okay, this, I think, these are very basic things that, everyone of us should know. Okay, these are some examples that I am putting here. The calibration should be also done by accredited laboratory. We must make sure that it's accredited laboratory that can trace its measurement to the international system of units. Okay, so awareness and communication. The second. This means that the company ensure that its employee are aware. Again, where I mentioned earlier, the organization must ensure the employees, each one of us, are aware of the quality policy, objectives, and the requirements, and that they communicate effectively with each other and with the external parties. The HODs of the department must make sure that the staff or the workers understand the company's policy and objective. Right, that is why I say that conduct regular training session for their staffs and explain the quality standards and expectation for its importance of the product. Okay, carry out a training just once a year. It's not enough. We must make sure that a person must have certain hours of the training so that they are continuously trained and understand the latest updates of the information. Company also use a lot of like posters and videos. We can have newsletters and many ways to communicate to the all level of people in the organization. Okay, customer feedback. Okay, customer feedback also I have a system to collect. Okay, so the QA department or the sales department, they will collect all the customer feedback. They will register and then send over to the respective department to investigate and to identify the corrective action. So complaint suggestions and all this is actually a booster for improvement. So we have to take this as a positive way and carry out the necessary investigation and make sure that there is no recurrence happen. Okay, so all this information, okay, must be properly documented, and this means the company maintain all the records and documents that demonstrate the company's conformity of its processes. Okay, so documentation, it's very important. It must be traceable and it may keep the records it's auditable and also retrievable manner. Okay, the production process parameters and material that used, that keeping the inspection, testing results, the corrective action taken, and the customer orders. These are the documents that must be kept with a certain interval as a archiving document. Okay, these documents such as quality manuals, procedures, work instructions, forms, and checklists, that's also to be kept and archived properly, so that this will also give or describe how the quality processes are performed in the event of any non-conformities found by a customer or the user. Okay, next, operational ISO 9001 planning and control. Okay, established again is a work instructions, product specification, and records where we have to keep and maintain for the traceability purpose. We have to identify the processes necessary for the quality management system and their interactions like inputs, output resources, controls, criteria, and performance indicators. We have to determine in the planning activities to ensure that they are carried out under control conditions. Okay, keep documented information as evidence of the process being performed as planned. As I mentioned earlier, operational planning and control, they helps organizations to ensure that their products and services meet the quality objectives and requirements of their customers and themselves, as well as to improve their processes and the QMS performance. Okay, control of externally provided process. What does that mean? Externally provided products and services. This clause actually focuses on ensuring that external providers, because some of us having external services such as suppliers, contractors, and outsourcing agencies. Okay, so we also must make sure that meet all the documents and all the evaluation and selection. It's meet the criteria of the company's requirements. To maintain, this is to maintain and enhance the product or service of the quality. End of the day, we can use the external outsource for that, but it is our role and responsibility to make sure that the product is, end of the day, meeting the quality requirements. It covers many ways. It covers manufacturing, checking point from the delivering the product and services. Okay, the key aspect could be purchase product. Okay, when receiving a product, okay, the external or even from internal. So let's talk about external providers. Okay, we have to incorporate that certain criteria or quality management system to ensure that the products meeting our specification, like raw materials, chemicals. Okay, and next is a provision to customers. When an external provider, okay, an external provider directly supplies a product or services to the customer on behalf of your organization, okay, through a partner or company. This is also still our responsibility to making sure that the supplier or the product has been supplied on behalf to the customer is fulfill and meet the quality requirements. So, outsourced processes, and the outsourced processes of parts of the many of us are having outsourced processes from the external provider. Also, it's our responsibility to ensure the quality and the services meet the ISO 9001 standards. Okay, where I can give some scenarios like selecting a cost-effective vendor. How we make sure that the vendor is actually providing best services and also effective vendor by checking their parameters, okay, leading to substandards, raw materials, making sure that their system in place, and we have to have a proper communication with the supplier and ensure that they understand, company's quality requirements. Okay. Sometimes we also use the outsourced testing activities. For example, we send out for external certification. So to check the protein level, we may do tensile. We also must make sure that the labs that we are selected, it actually, although they are outsourcing testing, we must ensure that they have an accredited certificate, okay, like ISO 17025 laboratory and so on. Okay, effective control. Effective control ensures the quality of our final product, services, and customer satisfaction and the compliance. Remember, maintaining strong relationships with an external provides a rigorous monitoring and ensure that essential for successful quality management. So while we have a very strong relationship, we also must demand and making sure that the suppliers are also ensuring and conducting all the relevant compliance in place. Okay. Same, I think the operation of the planning and control is also similar concept as I explained earlier. Performance evaluation. Okay. Performance evaluation is involved monitoring, measurements, analysis, and evaluation. It covers both are the same principle. Focus on the performance of the QMS. 9.1 is actually more on the QMS. They emphasize again the objective, measurement, and analyze to ensure quality objectives are met and functions effectively. Okay, so quality requirements for monitoring, it's very important for every organization to determine how and what we can expect for the final quality of the product. Okay, example include that quality, as I mentioned earlier, the services, operational efficiency, product, and so on. Okay, performance evaluations by carry out the internal audit. Why internal audit is very important. Performance evaluation is a clause in both ISO 9001 and also 14,000 centers that requires an organization to monitor and measure and analyze and evaluate its quality management system, regardless whether it's environmental or even the uh, safety 45,000. This purpose of performance is to ensure that the QMS and EMS is effective, efficient, and is continually improved. ISO 9001, the clause 9 just now, as I mentioned in the performance, covers the sub-clauses like monitoring, measurement analysis, and evaluation. These sub-clauses actually specify the requirement for determining what needs to be monitored and measured, how to analyze, how to evaluate the result. It also includes the requirement for customer satisfaction, analysis of data, and QMS performance. Okay, as I mentioned, internal audit, this subclause specify the requirements for planning, conducting auditing, reporting, and following up the internal audits to verify the conformity and effectiveness of the QMS. Okay, next, management review. Okay, management review, this clause is specify the requirement for the top management to review the QMS. Okay, there are certain companies, they will do like once a year minimum. Some will be doing like a quarterly, every 3 months, there will be a management review. This is mainly to make sure that the top management review the QMS or all the standard as planned interval to ensure its suitability, adequacy, and alignment with the organization direction and the business strategy. Okay, so based on these examples of all these monitoring and evaluations, there are a lot of improvements that we also have to look. Okay, example of improvement actions to be taken to monitor the performance, conducting, as I mentioned, that internal audits, actually doing from the internal audits and management review to evaluate, we can see the effectiveness and the suitability of the quality management system. Okay, so establishing quality objectives and indicators that align with the strategy direction and customers' requirements. Okay, implementing corrective actions to address the root cause of the non-conformities. And most important is to prevent their recurrence. The customer complaint in a year, how many customer complaints, same nature of complaints, if let's say we continuously receive, how we want to ensure that this has been addressed and eliminated and making sure that this not repeat again. So that is where the top management play very important role during the management review meeting. This will be dive into the details and we have to identify is there a proper corrective action has been taken to address the issues. So establishing quality objective and indicators that are aligned with the strategic is very important. Implementing corrective action, it's also to making sure that this is not recur again. Okay, next is updating the risk. Okay, updating the risk is also to reflect the changes in the internal and external context of the organization. Okay, seeking feedback. Seeking feedback from customers and others interested parties to identify opportunities for enhancing customer satisfaction and loyalty. So not all the customers would like to give you a feedback. Okay, those customers that think that the company or the product need to be improved, they will always give you a feedback. So we must identify and recognize and appreciate all the feedback given by the customer and take appropriate action to make sure that the customer satisfied and loyal and continue buy from us. So again, as a review, applying the plan, do, check, and act is very important. This is a very basic fundamental to implement and review the improvement actions. Encouraging a culture of continual improvement among all the employees and providing them with adequate training and resources is also very, very important. Okay, they investigate the incidents and evaluate the need for action to prevent the recurrence. Okay, I hope with all this, you are clear on the improvement action plans. Okay, it's the same thing. So we talk about some other examples on the improvement on the safety aspects. Okay, some can be implemented under the clause 10.3 staff suggestion scheme, because we know that when the staff give us a suggestion, okay, they are involved and they are engaged in giving their ideas. So the organization can encourage workers to provide feedback, okay, and give the platform for them to give suggestions on how to improve the occupational health or safety management system, because they are there in the floor and they're working, they know better than us, they can give us even better ideas. So we always must find or provide them the platform so that they can freely give idea or suggestion for us to improve our safety. Okay, any hazards such as they identify any hazards, reducing risk or increasing the efficiency. Workers, those workers that given ideas can be rewarded for their contributions, okay, and their suggestions. That is very important. Every ideas that they are giving, we must recognize and reward so that they can continuously give us idea and to keep the company to move forward. Okay, suggestion can be evaluated and it's in the form of suggestion schemes. We can have a suggestion schemes. Also solidity with feedback, suggestion form, and so many ways that we can actually get better idea from the shop floor. Okay, apart from that, focus teams. Organization can also form a focus team. Why I say that? Because we can have this focus team. So this focus team can consist of workers from the workers team, managers, some experts, okay, some analyzes specific aspects of the OHS, and these people can actually create or establish such as process, procedures, policies, and objectives, and so on. So this focus team can identify the strength and weakness or opportunities, okay, and analyze and propose actions for improvement. Okay, so we can have a special task form like a focus team to enhance on the safety improvement. And also we can have a learning lessons from accidents, many videos and many programs, the incidents, that near misses that we also can find out, and organization can investigate, use that the causes and consequences of any such a accident. So how we should prevent this? What are the countermeasures that the organization should take and keep in place so that these near misses can be totally eliminated? Okay, organization also can learn from events and take corrective actions like to prevent recurrence, to mitigate any impacts. Okay. What is promoting the party? Okay, participation of workers. As I mentioned that participation of workers is very important because they know better and they can give a better idea to improve the overall management system. Okay. Organization can also ensure that information is clear. Okay, it's communicated clearly, accurate, timely, and also accessible to all parties. Okay, we can also have a video play in the cafeteria or even in the waiting lobby so that everybody always see and understand the requirements, and also foster a culture to be open up and also trust and collaborate with the workers. Okay, we are at the end of my slides. These integrated management systems combine quality, environmental, and health and safety management system into a cohesive framework. Key benefits, I just want to summarize and tell you that the key benefits improve efficiency, mainly effectiveness, and streamline to processes. A IMS ensures that consistent product, service, and quality. Environment, IMS promotes also sustainable practices, health and safety, that enhances this workplace, a safe workplace safety. So we are at the end of the slides. Thank you for everyone for being part of today's presentation on the integrated management system. We have explored how EMS or integrates quality or environmental and health safety aspects driving organizational success. Again, EMS isn't just about compliance, it's about excellence. We continue work together to create a safer, more efficient in the future. I hope you will get something out from these slides. And I would like to give a special thanks to Technobiz, Mr. Param, for giving me this opportunity. If you have any questions or any clarification, please email to Technobiz and I will try to answer your queries. Thank you, Technobiz, and thank you to all.